Hello, welcome in, guys. We are talking today about solutions and what's working in the San Diego real estate market. We have just taken the last 3, 4, 10 weeks talking about the major obstacles and then local obstacles and challenges to the market. We're all aware that the market is challenged, but we want to talk about what's working and what we're seeing in the front lines, Haley.
Yeah, we've had a lot of our people that we are working with come up and tell us these stories of how they're running into these listings, how they're getting these listings, and a lot of them we're not seeing the super easy transactions at the moment. It's not people that just want to size up or move up. A lot of these transactions we're seeing have a little bit of turbulence, or there's some kind of like likelihood of why they're moving, of some kind of life change. Life change. Yeah, like a big life change, something like that dictates them to really have to move. Like you were saying, we've had one of our flippers who's picked up 3 properties just like this month. One was because one lady, her husband passed away and she just wanted out, right? She was
wanted
like,
to move
just
closer
wanted
to friends and stuff.
Yeah. And then one of our other gals who's a residential agent, she has 3 flips coming up there because the properties are just kind of dilapidated, they're inherited, the people have passed, and they're not ready to go to market the way they are.
Yeah, so I think we look for trends. We look because we advise and work very closely with our teams and our agents on what we see out there. And they ask us, hey, what are you guys seeing out there? Every day, right?
Yeah.
We make calls
Every day.
We bang calls every day, and we ask, what are you guys seeing? What we're seeing is life changes moving the needle in terms of housing changes. So affidavits of death, probates, bankruptcies, divorces, notice of defaults. And notice of defaults had been kind of ticking up and they've kind of leveled off. So not one exact category. I can't put my finger on that. And are there people that are bored with the ranch style house and want to move closer to the water? Absolutely, that's happening. Or their square footage is no longer suitable? Sure. But the major trend we're seeing with the volume is some type of a life change is happening. And so they're needing to make a housing change.
Right. Well, we're even hearing too from a lot of our lenders. Like I just talked to one of our lenders and she's saying a lot of their clients are coming to them too late because they need to cash out refi because they have a lot of debt that they've acquired over the last couple years, of racked up a lot of credit card debt, other debt, and they're coming to them too late and they can't refinance them. And they're coming to a situation where they're going to have to sell their property. That's the only thing they're going to do.
Because they didn't give up lifestyle, so they tapped into the equity.
And now they're over leveraged. And she was like, I have multiple people right now that have came to me way too late. And I'm like, there's not really much we can do here at this point. If you would have came to me 6 months ago when you were doing this, we could have came up with a plan. So we're seeing a lot of that too, where people are super over leveraged and they're going to have to sell just to kind of pay off some of their debt that they've acquired.
Well, and this is nothing new. This is like you're listening, you're like, Ryan, Haley, I know. People get divorced, they sell their house. But you add on top of it the fact that you have boomers aging out 10,000 a day or whatever it is, and they're not getting younger. So there's certain people that haven't gone upstairs in 3 years or haven't entered that one room. So you add on top of the distress, like the movement in the distress market and people downsizing and people getting out of the big house and moving into a more suitable living arrangement, going to senior communities, going and making that transition into the next part of life. Then you add that on top of what's always churning down in the distress area. And you've got a big segment of the market of life change activities.
Of people that are probably very likely going to be making some kind of move, which is great. I mean, we know the sphere, but a lot of times people, when they say like, oh, my business isn't super great right now. And we're like, well, what are you doing for their sphere? And we see how we can really help them plug in, really squeeze that sponge in their sphere. But people don't realize we have to have other verticals of our business. Because if I love the analogy, I've heard a coach talk about it before. And he said, if we have a restaurant and we just have our sphere come in and we hope that they maybe bring their friends and maybe bring their family, our restaurant is probably going to go out of business pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
Like we have to have new people coming into our business to keep the door open. So how are we getting new business? And these are those different verticals where we can tap into to find those people. And yes, the open houses still work. The doing the events, going places, getting out of being in the office and going to networking things that aren't real estate related, like things that you love to do, like yoga events and things like that.
Underwater basket
Talking
weaving.
to people. Because guess what? You add those people into your Underwater basket weaving, yes. You add those people into your sphere, but you're still adding more people. So we have to identify that we can't just have one segment of our business.
Right.
And we're always talking about how can we add more verticals or more income or more things that we can do to add different streams of things coming in, because sometimes the sphere isn't always going off. So we got to figure out a way.
And this dawned on me, Haley, like what if, and our major verticals are sphere of influence, circle dialing, distressed sellers, and business to business, right? That's what moves the needle. That's a complete, robust business plan. It works. We've instituted it in so many places and with great results. Now, what if I went with the lens of, in my sphere, I can take my sphere of influence spreadsheet and put it into Rebo Gateway or some similar software, and it'll identify Tycor Tech, and it'll tell me the divorces, the probates, the deaths, and all the distressed NODs even. And so you can see if cousin Steve is behind on his mortgage, right? Now that's a useful bit of information, not to go hound him and say, hey, dude, you're in foreclosure, pal. We got to talk. It's like, you can maybe add frequency, take him out for a beer.
Go to get lunch,
and have that talk.
If you farm an area and you consistently hit an area, wouldn't you want to know about the farm within the farm? And know who might be struggling with, even if they have defaulted taxes, other things that we might be able to identify within your farm of people that would be having some kind of change.
So if I have an open house in La Mesa and I look and only find the people that fit into these categories, downsizers or divorces, bankruptcy, death, whatever, and I talk to them, it's easy for me to talk about my open house. But I know that there's underlying some real urgent kind of motivation
So
there.
if you call them and said, hey, we're going to be having an open house this weekend, we're just calling the neighbors to invite them because we're going to have a lot of buyers come through. La Mesa is a very desirable area. So that's why we're reaching out, one, to see if you have any friends or family first before I can talk to you to see if they want to move in here prior.
We really like to knock it out of the park for our sellers and make sure we get as many eyeballs as possible interviewing for the job, right?
But if you had any thoughts of selling, we're going to have so many buyers coming through this open house. I'm sure we're going to be able to have a buyer for your home too.
Boom. Do you think that message might hit if the timing is right, if they're open? You know what I mean? So you do that and it's strategic. It's like sniper instead of shotgun fire.
Well, and I don't think you're calling them and saying, hey, I see you're going through a divorce. Like, we're having an open house. It might be empty after 3. You want to come by? Sorry, that was bad.
Wow, I'm sorry the Amazon guy was over a little too often.
But we don't call and go straight through that.
No.
Like, that's absolutely
no. Just offer solution. Don't rub their face in the problem.
I love that idea of.
So okay, so my
house.
sphere, I look for maybe these categories. My circle prospecting, I look for these categories. We have lists and can help for the agent to obtain lists of these throughout the county and other bordering counties, and then talk to other professionals that might have like a stable of these type of clients, like a bankruptcy attorney, a divorce attorney, a probate attorney, maybe people that deal
spin-off business for it.
You know, a farmer's agent knows all the life changes for the people that they insure. A CPA sure as heck knows what life changes are going on with taxes and all that. So there's resources, and when you get strategic with it, you can send the newsletter, you can have the client event, you can stay top of mind with your sphere. But guess what? If you stay top of mind, the people that are in this distress category are usually the ones that are like, hey, we need help, or talk to my sister, she's going through a rough one. Or, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you really think about it, it's kind of why a lot of these companies do so well is because people do need help. People do need help out there. And if we go into it with the cause of, and a lot of our investors we work with, they are very empathetic. They know these people are going through situations. They're not out there to cut them at the jugular and take all their, everything they've owned and take all their money from them. We have some pretty high integrity flippers that we work with, but we hear these stories. A lot of them tell us
take them for a
lot of them, some of the sellers have mental health issues and they had to go into homes and their house is completely thrashed and hoarded, and the family is just they're at a lost end. They're like, we didn't know what to do anymore. We're so happy you're here because we didn't know what to do with their property. We didn't know how to handle this. There's spray paint on the wall. We have seen some properties,
trash.
and so a lot of these people inherit or come across these things and they don't know what to do with them. So that's why really having that as another vertical or identifying them helps at least when Christmas or when things are going on, you have other verticals or other irons in the fire of, so we say, of things that are hitting in the business.
And that's who gets this. Who already gets this? The big flippers, right? The guys doing 10, 12 a month, maybe more. Some of the big ones we're all familiar with here in town. So let's take a page out of their book. They're bypassing the relationship and going straight to the need, right? And a lot of them layer a divorce with like bad tags on their registration for their car, or they stack adversity because they know.
Notice a default and tax default.
Yes, when they have stacked difficulties and life happenings, and then are high likelihood to be a seller. So if we rip a page out of their book and just play that winning play and roll that winning play out in our business to a degree alongside the other things you're doing, then what we see, we can tell you from the front lines of ensuring transactions throughout the month.
About like 200 transactions a month.
That these are the ones that there's a trend, and those are the ones that are moving. And working with a lot of big flippers statewide is where they're just getting all kinds of attention and hands raised by targeting the right people. So we want to give you that as a solution to how to beef up your marketing entering to the spring and summer selling season. These are the folks that are raising their hands. These are the folks that are transacting because a lot of times because they need to.
Yeah. So if you have questions or how we can help you put a plan with this together, please hit us up. We'd love to be able to help. And
we've got whole strategies for this stuff. So
Endless
strategies. So that's how you can beef up your business on this beautiful Friday in San Diego.
Until next time, I'm Haley.
I'm Ryan.
Bye.
Bye.